This video is about learning how to go through persecution in love. It is a critical lesson for new Christians and for anyone who's stepping out to draw nearer to God and serve Him, because it's so common to have persecution. And now the reasons for that are things I go through on my website, and there's verses there. God can use difficult circumstances to test us and to train us and to transform us into His image. We're meant to be overcomers, as we know from Revelation 3, and if we're going to overcome, there must be some kind of difficult circumstance that we surpassed. Now, you can't be a great warrior without having ever fought a war, and we are in a war. The spirit realm is very active and very alive, and there are all kinds of creatures in it. People need to be aware that it is not a neutral field, as is so often portrayed. We do have an enemy. The demonic world is cut off from God, and it hates us. We who are made in the image of God, we who are meant to be adopted in as sons, to be co-heirs of Christ, to be a bride of Christ, and to rule with God in eternity, we are not well loved by the dark forces that do exist. And when you try and draw nearer with God, you will face persecution. Now, for the enemy, their surest attack against us is with people who are closest to us, who are not fully redeemed and are not fully walking with God, whose thoughts can be influenced and who can often become very angry with us as we step out in faith. It's a problem I've seen a lot, and I'm not talking about any specific person, but that having been in ministry a little while, it's something that you see especially in marriages, certainly in families, and often from preachers as well, who react in fear and try and lash out against even the people in their congregation who start drawing nearer to God than they are. Not everyone is as fully redeemed, and it can be really shocking to see people who are supposed to love you and have no cause against you of any kind suddenly react with a lot of venom and malice. Now, Paul wrote this in his letter to Timothy, 2 Timothy 3:12. All who desire to live godly in Christ Jesus will suffer persecution. And that's true for us as well. But what we want to learn is to deal with it the way Jesus taught, to love your enemies and do good to those who hate you, bless those who curse you, pray for those who abuse you. And I wish I could tell you it were easy, but it's not. And it's something that all of us need to be prepared for, not just as we say, hey, I believe in Jesus. And in America, it's okay to say, I believe in Jesus. But when you step out to say, I want to live a holy life, I want to know Jesus, I want to spend time in prayer and worship, that's the kind of thing that draws anger from others. And we just need to be prepared to deal with it and be warned of it in advance. It's always been my concern that in just this zeal to save sinners, that we tell a lie about the Christian life and about how wonderful everything is once you've said the words. When the truth is that we are on a path of training and growth, and God is treating us as sons when we have to go through the hard training that we do. We also want to remember to be wise, and the patriarch Joseph gives us his story in Genesis 41, that when he told his dreams to his brothers, they sold him into slavery. They were very jealous and hateful over what the Lord had showed him, and did not look for their own destiny in the Lord, but hated him for his. So we want to be wise as serpents, innocent as dove, and understand in 1 Corinthians 10 that God does provide a way of escape, and in Proverbs 22:3 that a man of understanding will see trouble coming and take refuge. So So sometimes it can be wise to exercise a great deal of discretion with people and what you tell them and what you share and who you expose yourself to. Be wise. And may the Lord bless you and keep you, make his face shine upon you and be gracious to you, lift up his face upon you and grant you peace, and have peace in your families. Because the only way to stay on this path with God and to have peace is to minister to them, that they are your first ministry to bring those close to you and to fellowship with God, and that you'll have to learn how to do it in love.